Hello there, this is Cindy at cindybdesigns.com. Thank you for joining me today. The gift card holder on the left is my sample. The one on the right is what we are going to be making. And I'm using the On the Go Suite collection, which is part of our online exclusives. And this is everything that you get in the kit in front of you. I did play around with it a little bit and made a couple cards. That one was just to play around for a sketch. And then that one was over at Stampin' Up! Only Challenges a couple weeks ago. And that is my sample over there at the bottom right. Now, in the Suite collection, you have the tags to go, the dies, and then the stamp set. The stamp set and the dies, you can't cut anything out, maybe a sentiment or something, but they're pretty much, well, they are standalone dies to make all sorts of little fun things over, keys and whatnot and tags. Then you get this box of suitcases, and super easy to fold up like I showed you there. And you only get one each color. I just happen to have two, so I popped it all in there together of the twine. And then the puffy stickers, which I haven't seen around for a good 20 years. And then all that great designer series paper. You can use it for scrapbooking, card making, whatever you want to do. These images are very easy to fussy cut since there are no coordinating dies I'll cut out in the designer series paper. But the colors in this are Azure Afternoon, Basic Black, Crushed Curry, Pumpkin Pie, Shy Shamrock, and Strawberry Slush. When I first saw this Suite collection, I immediately thought this will be great for summertime. Graduation is coming up, grad season, wedding season, birthday, Mother's Day, Father's Day, whatever you want. You can pull it off with this. And I thought it'd be fun to make a gift card holder because you can use that, well, honestly, for any occasion out there. And you can see that I've kind of gone through a significant part of this kit. So that is the sample that I made. And I pretty much did what we're going to do today, like it a lot. But I wanted to play around with the sketch and the layout of my gift card holder. And as you can see, it fits in there perfectly. And I got the idea to do this because my girlfriend Courtney, who owns my insurance agent, has her own agency and sent me that card. And it's like, hey, why not? So to get started here, we have Shy Shamrock cut to 4 1/4 by 11. Measurements, everything will be over on the blog at cindybdesigns.com. I'll get back to that in a minute. First score line at 2 3/4. If you want, you can flip that around and score it at 2 3/4 again. But if you don't want to, then you want to do it at 8 1/4. So you want 2 3/4 on each end of that piece of cardstock there. And that is all the score lines that we have to do. This is a really, really easy gift card holder, with a fun fold at the same time. Got that folded. I want to get the lines creased. I'm speeding this up just a little bit, and then we'll start to get everything together. I'll talk you through this and get the measurements for you down as well. Now, I am absolutely doing this project here on the fly, and what you see me, my process here, I'm going through the designer series paper to pick out the patterns I want to use on our gift card holder, and just kind of mixing and matching, winging it. I really wanted to use that top panel there with all the keys on it just for, some good contrast and something different. And so, and I'm going to use that pattern for the inside as well. And I think on this one, I did end up using, I think 3 different designer series paper. And we got some cutting to do there. So I'm measuring our top panels there. And you want your orientation to work out, okay? So it's going to be 4 across by 2 1/4. And you want to cut them right in a row because over towards the left, when you adhere them, you want them lining up just perfectly because that is the front and you are going to see it. So you're going to see me go back and forth several times just to make sure I keep my orientation right. And I'll be fussing with my seal quite a bit throughout this video. And I'm going to get that adhere down with seal. You can do it with our liquid adhesive if you want. Sometimes I just find that easier, especially when I have like a lot of folds going on and a lot of layers. So I'm going to pop that down. And again, there will be a blog post or a link to the blog post directly in the YouTube description underneath this video. I'm stumbling all over the place today. Um, Going back to the blog post that will have all the dimensions, instructions, everything like that there. So we got our first two panels down of the designer series paper on the top of the gift card holder. And now I just have a bunch of scrap white cardstock there. And I'm going to start working on the inside a little bit. Yeah. So those two pieces there, they're going to be cut the same as the outside to 4 by 2.5. And that's going to go on the top inside. Then for the middle inside, that's going to be 4 by 5.25, where we're going to put our sentiment and everything like that. And then eventually, I'm going to cut down 2 more pieces of designer series paper and adhere one pattern to the top of the inside there, and then one to the bottom where, well, our pocket's going to be there at the bottom. Now, as I get all this down, you're going to see me make the pocket, and then there's going to be like a cut because I realized I did not put the hole punch in there at the top there, so to give it an easy way to grab the gift card out. So I had to stop everything, recreate it, but I didn't do anything differently. I just had to go back in and, get that hole punched in there. So I'm thinking, what do I want to do? Where do I want to get my DSP placed and what I want to cut? I got to watch the orientation. And so I end up putting that designer series paper at the top, and I decided to cut that down just a little, like 1/8 of an inch less. So that panel right there at the top, that's going to be 3 7/8 across by 2 3/8. If you're not quite sure about those kind of off, the wonky measurements, go to my blog, search bar, hit ruler. But the 3/8 is right in between the quarter and the ½ inch mark. And the 7/8 is like 2 little teeny tiny tick marks down below the inch line itself. And I think Bella's joining us snoring here because I can hear her big time. So for our inside pocket, again, watch the orientation. I wanted to cut it straight on the long side first. And that is going to be at 4.5 by 2.5. Then you want to leave that top right there, nothing there, and then score each side at 3/8. And again, that is in between the ½ inch, or I'm sorry, the 1/4 inch and the ½ inch. Do not score it super hard. It looks like I'm doing that, but I'm really not, because it is designer series paper, and you don't want to crack it or anything like that when you fold the edges over. So that little teeny tiny tab there at the bottom, you want to miter that in both ways and then pull that off. And then grab your tear and tape, do your score lines first a little bit. I found it easier to cut on the inside because there wasn't as much pattern on the outside. Got that down. I'm going to bring in my 1/4 inch tear and tape, and then I'm going to put tear and tape around 3 sides of that. The bottom there where we scored, and then the left and the right. And after this is probably going to cut out where I had to recreate it again, and then come back in and do, get that top there punched out. Now the fun thing about something like this is that it's super easy to make. It's you can easily mass produce it. Use any of our products that we have, designer series paper, whatever you want to do. Add more to it, take away from it. It's just strictly up to you. So you see how I fold the sides in there, the left and right, just a little bit like that. Okay, that's where I had to start all over. To me, that was easier to keep it down. As you see me flip it over there, to keep the left and the right sides down at the bottom, so I could pull the tear and tape off and just go ahead and get that adhered to the inside of our gift card holder. To me, it's just, something, it makes it easier for me and simple for me. So the gift card fits perfectly, and we are good. So I'm grabbing our inside sentiment, kind of figuring out what I want to do with that, and some Memento Tuxedo black ink. And I'm going to pull in that really small countryside corners, and they are not coming back. Those dies are retiring. I'm keeping them on board though. I don't see anything to replace them so far in the new catalog coming out, the 25, 26. And I have no idea where time is going in my life, but I'll have to wing that. So I decided to ink that sentiment up real quick there, and it went on okay. Drying it real fast because black can be fussy. And then I have some black mini Stampin' Dimensionals, and I'm going to cut them in half and then put three on the back of that sentiment there. So as I'm getting all of that down and put together, I've contacted all of my paper pumpkin kit winners. I'm going to put something on Instagram about that as well, a picture. So please go check that out. It's just Cindy B Designs. And it'll probably be over on the blog too, just a picture underneath this YouTube description. And next week as well, because I just got my paper pumpkin kits yesterday. So that's what we will be doing for next weekend. And those alternatives, I gotta tell you, they're gonna be hard to come up with because this kit is very, very, very cut and dry, but we'll wing it. So I'm thinking about the sentiment I want to use for the inside, and I'm just going to stamp that you're going places up there at the top in Memento Tuxedo Black to the top right. And I'm using blocks this time around rather than my Stamparatus. I just found it easier, um, especially with cling mount stamps. And frankly, I didn't want to deal with it. And I apologize. I mean, it's just been such a week for me. I have the worst allergies in the world, and I had no idea how much they affect my life. So I'm like spacing out right now because I've been on steroids for like 5 days and antibiotics because the bones behind my ears, my mastoids got infected from allergies. And so, yeah, this is not fun. It never happened until I moved out of California and got away from the water and out of the Bay Area. And so, yeah, I haven't heard my real voice until I fly back there. So I'm going to quit whining now about everything. And like I told you earlier, these images in the designer series paper, they are super easy to fussy cut out. And I am not a fussy cutter by any means. But when I do decide to get around to it, you're going to see me move my cardstock or my paper more so than my scissors until I get to like the very end. And then I'll like slide the cardstock in there again and then go around the corners and everything like that. You get better cuts that way, and they're more clean, they're more concise, and it works out perfectly. At least, yeah, skip intro. At least when you do that, I'm laying down some seal on the back, and that's going to go left corner right there. And so I'm thinking about, okay, what I do for the top there. We are grabbing the third largest countryside corner dies. I want to run that through the mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine with a piece of basic white cardstock. You can use thick or regular. I used regular. And I want to line up part of that at the bottom with some kind of image. And that was the best one I could come up with because I need the top half of it to stamp my sentiment. And I wanted the backpack and that little umbrella fit perfectly there at the bottom. So I ran that through using the same countryside corners die cut. And then I'm going to bring in my paper trimmer and then cut that off like right above the edge of, the top of the umbrella there. So back to my paper pumpkin winners. If you leave a comment under that YouTube video, you have to go back and check to see if you won because that's where I will contact you. So I'm putting that piece of designer series paper down there on top of our front sentiment image panel with snail adhesive. And then we are going to go ahead and get our sentiment stamped on there and then start wrapping this card up I think my last video was about product boxes. Thank you so much. I'm working really, really hard on that and for your response and everything like that. I still have plenty there for you. So go get your product box. Got the sentiment down. Wanted to he said that real quick because we are finishing up. And I'm taking a piece of low tack tape and I'm taping my sentiment where I want it to be on the center of the card, making like a little line there so I know where not to put adhesive. And this is where I'm going to use like a little bit of liquid adhesive just to get that down and make sure everything's centered top to bottom, left to right. And there we go. And now I'm going to pull in those little cute puffy pieces and end up grabbing like that strawberry slush heart and then popping it down there. And then for the top, I'm going to grab like one of those strawberry slush geo things and then pop that on top and then tie around some of our twine and we'll be done with that. But coming up, I don't know how this happened, but the stamp set, the tags to go, and the dies. I have like another set of die cuts in the package and another stamp set for you. I have still all of those puffy stickers and a lot of that twine there and designer series paper that I'm willing to share with you too, but you got to be US and I'll show it to you coming up. But leave a comment underneath this video. And tomorrow is going to be what? I'm doing this on a Friday. So it's going to be what? The 19th. So next Saturday's video, I will go ahead and announce that. Don't forget to subscribe to Paper Pumpkin by May 11th to get this kit. Pick up your dies, and that is going to be June's Paper Pumpkin kit. And we got our gift card holder done. Super easy, super cute, super fun. But again, back to what's coming up, those two I have for you. And I will share what I have on board so you kind of like have your own sweet collection, including I will send you some of those suitcases too. So I do thank you for joining me today. And I hope to see you again back next week. And in order to win this, leave a comment over on my Instagram and Facebook and one here, but definitely follow me over on Instagram and Facebook. I have like average out my readership, right? So have a great weekend and I will see you again next week.